throughout all of that?
It's interesting. It actually came from a very, very panicked moment that I had. My background is not in creative writing. I was a journalist for about 5 years. I have a journalism degree, and one thing you'll learn really quickly about journalists is their writing is lean and stripped down. You don't have a lot of flowery prose. And when I knew I wanted to start writing fantasy, one of the first things I did was start reading the big hitters in the series. I picked up George R. R. Martin, Robert Jordan, Tolkien, N.K. Jemisin, these renowned authors. And I was about halfway through Resident, and I began to have a bit of a panic moment because I was reading these, and one of the consistent threads among all of them is that they have this very epic and flowery prose.
Yep.
A lot of it, particularly people like Tolkien, Jordan, Jemison, good grief. Like, that woman might be one of the most brilliant writers alive today. And her prose is just incredibly dense and elaborate and almost lyrical the way that it comes out. And I don't know how to write like that.
Same.
Yeah. And I have a very good friend of mine. He is head of an English department at a local school,
Mhm.
and he's been helping me with my writing for years. And I reached out and I was like, I want to talk about something. Can we grab dinner? And so we did. And I was explaining to him what was going on, and he was the first one to tell me. He was like, "You got to understand, you're looking at this as a bug. This is a feature." He said, "Fantasy as a genre has had every type of writer out there. They've had so many different styles, so many different approaches. And the key is to figure out what makes you unique as a writer, as a creative." And he said, your background in journalism, the way you've been taught to create these lean, propulsive paragraphs that pull people from one paragraph to the other, he said, that's a very hard thing for people to learn to do. You've had years of experience working to develop that. He said, so don't freak out about it, lean into it. And then he also gave me a copy of The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, who one of the best fantasy writers out there. And Joe Abercrombie is a nails to the wall bullet point writer. His prose is lean, it is bloody, and it is clean across the board. And it immediately let me know that, okay, there was space for someone who wrote like me. And one of the interesting things is when Frostbitten came out, a consistent theme that I heard from people was they thought that this was a great book for people who didn't read a lot of fantasy, a great introduction, because it gave people the opportunity to engage with a story without having to make that jump into that fantastical prose, into that lyrical prose.